What do you get when the Elgato Stream Deck meets the Corsair iQ Nexus touch display? Well, you will get the Elgato Stream Deck Plus. Hi everyone and welcome back. In today's video we will be having a look at the Elgato Stream Deck Plus, let's say the next gen of the Stream Deck from Elgato. So let's check it out. Inside the box of the Elgato Stream Deck Plus you will find the Stream Deck itself and the USB Type-C cable, about 2 meters long, so you can connect it easily to your system. There are also some startup guide papers. While keeping a familiar design with the previous Stream Deck, you can notice some new and interesting features that Elgato has introduced into the Stream Deck Plus design. Two of them will catch immediately your attention: the dials buttons and the touchscreen. Introducing the dials and the touchscreen has reduced the physical buttons to only 2 lines of 4 buttons. But now these buttons are a little bit bigger than the previous Stream Deck for a clear view of the icons or the text that you might want to type inside. The build quality is okay, as we can notice in the majority of the Elgato Stream Deck, but the buttons are not okay at all. Anytime you press them, they wobble a lot. Considering that Elgato is part of Corsair, which also makes keyboards with good key quality, I have to say, hopefully they will consider redesigning these buttons in the next releases. Before moving on with the specs and the details of the Elgato Stream Deck Plus, if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Drop a thumbs up and leave a comment if you want to know more. This will help the channel a lot and allow me to bring more content like this. Thank you. You can connect the Stream Deck Plus using the USB Type-C included in the box, although I have to say that the USB port is placed in a weird position. The stand has a rubber underneath, so if you press or use the buttons with a little more energy, the Stream Deck won't move from its position. This is a good thing in my opinion. Unfortunately, you can adjust the inclination of the stand, so you have to use it as it is, and this might not fit all the desk setups and can be a limitation in certain scenarios. As mentioned, the Stream Deck Plus has 4 dials. These are the so-called endless dials that can be used in different applications. For example, I use it on DaVinci Resolve timelines for moving or zooming. Sure, you can use it in other different apps with similar or even more settings. If you press the dials, it is possible to use them as on-off buttons if you are not using them as a dial stack. And you can customize the behavior in each individual subfolder or submenu. I will get to that later in the app setup. Also, the texture gives you a better grip, and while rotating them you can notice that they have a kind of single rotation click for more precise use. In the middle there is a small touchscreen display with all the status icons that indicates the actual behavior of the dials. Since it is touch, you can use it for changing the status or to scroll the pages with no need to press a button as used in the previous generation of the Stream Decks. You can personalize the background of the screen. I will get to that later on the app setup. The screen might seem familiar if you look closely. I think this is the same as the iQ Nexus touchscreen, but since Elgato is part of Corsair, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. Then at the top there are 8 buttons, which I don't really like that much. They are not well done in my opinion, and you might need to press twice or more to be sure that the action is taking place. This can be a little bit frustrating. But despite all these features and functions, the most important one, in my opinion, as a feature and as a function is the Stream Deck software. So let's check quickly some basic settings. Alright guys, here we have the Stream Deck software opened. As we can see, the layout of the Stream Deck Plus is a little bit different from the Stream Deck normal. So here we have 3 lines for the buttons, normal buttons, and if we move back to the Stream Deck Plus, we have 2 lines of buttons, then there is the screen and there are the dials icon here. Speaking about dials, you can use them as a dial stack or as a single action stack. Let me show you, for example, the stack. If we move it here, so you can drag an action here. Let's say I want to adjust brightness, temperature, and let's say brightness for the Philips Hue thing. So for example, if I press this, the first dials here, as you can see, it's going to jump from one action to another one if I want to make a group of actions for the same object. So I can switch from actions and I can control those actions by switching from one action to another one. Or you can use the dials as a single dial, for example brightness. So you can use this brightness as a single dial. If you press the dial, it's going to act as an on-off dial if that is possible, if the thing that you are controlling is going to allow you to do that. Probably the Philips Hue is going to allow me. Yes, exactly. As we can see here, toggle lights on and off. So if I press on and off, this one is going to switch on or switch off the light that I have set up with my Philips Hue. This is one example. You can use it whatever smart object which is compatible with the Stream Deck you want to control. You can change the background background of this small screen here by right click here and open background library. So you can choose one of these backgrounds here. There are a lot of backgrounds, I have to say, probably there are 50 of them if I'm not wrong. I have been using these dials in DaVinci Resolve and I have to say they really have been helping me with speeding up the editing actually. As we can see, this is the jog for moving into the timeline and into the clip that I'm actually using, for example, or this one is for zooming in and zooming out. This one is from Slideshow FX. These are the preset package. As we can see, there are a lot of pages that I use for all my clips and everything else. You might not need to use all these effects and all these things. You might need to use really basic things so you can set up by yourself. Remember to download the icons here. Let me go and show you guys. So you can go DaVinci. Here we go. We have two packages of icons for DaVinci, so you can download them and you can set up all the buttons and everything else also by yourself. If you don't want to buy this, I think it's about 30 bucks or something like that. Now the only thing is that the dials here, there are not a lot of controls actually. I believe and I think Elgato might implement different actions here. If you want to download the plugins, downloaded a lot of plugins here. You might not need all of them. So if you want to download the plugins, you can go here in the plugin section and you can download all the plugins that you need. One thing that you can do, if you have to move from one page to another one, you can just swipe on the screen here and you don't have to use as we have been using with a normal Stream Deck. Let me show you. This one is going to be always occupied by a button from jumping from one page to another one. So if you use the Stream Deck Plus, you don't have to use one of these buttons here to jump from one page to another one. So you might simply use the small screen and swiping from left right just to move from pages. So I find it really helpful. That's all for this review of the Elgato Stream Deck Plus. You can get it for the price of 200 bucks. I think for what the Stream Deck Plus does and the new features introduced, this price might be okay. The dials and the touchscreen are nice features and sure can be helpful in different scenarios. Also, the app is always getting better and supported by a lot of developers and brands. But despite all, there are some little cons, at least for this release of the Stream Deck Plus. One of them is the stand that you can't adjust at all, and also the buttons which are a little too much wobbling when you press them. If you guys like this video, please leave a thumbs up, drop a comment if you want to know more, or let me know your thoughts about the Elgato Stream Deck Plus. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Thanks for watching.